This is an iPhone 17 Pro, the white model. The front display is completely shattered. Now let's look at the frame from the side. The frame has also been severely bent, especially in the middle. If this were a previous iPhone model, a bend in this area would almost certainly mean the logic board was bent too. But this is the iPhone 17 Pro. Why can we confidently say the logic board isn't bent? What changed inside compared to previous iPhones? Looking at the display from the side, it's clearly suffering from LCD/OLED damage. The owner had already opened the phone elsewhere and connected another display for testing, according to the owner. Face ID wasn't working, and the display was broken. Let's remove the damaged display and inspect it. To verify whether there are other issues, let's connect a known good test display. We'll power it on first and test all the functions. After booting, we'll enter the owner's passcode. First, let's check the battery. Battery health is 100%, just over 100 charge cycles. About this iPhone, this is a Chinese-market 512GB iPhone 17 Pro. Since the iPhone 17 Pro uses a dual-layer logic board and this phone suffered a major impact, we need to test every function, including Wi-Fi, speaker, cellular modem, voice recording, and whether it randomly restarts. We also need to verify the Face ID issue the owner mentioned. After entering the passcode, we found that stolen device protection is enabled, so Face ID can't be re-enrolled. Here's a useful trick. Open the front camera and switch to portrait mode. This also allows us to verify whether the TrueLip camera is functioning. After testing, we confirmed that Face ID hardware is actually fine. That's strange. The owner clearly reported that Face ID has failed. Next, let's check whether there are any restart logs. There aren't any restart records. Now we'll remove the display and continue inspecting. Since the phone was opened before, the cooling sticker has already been scratched. So why can the iPhone 17 Pro survive such a heavy impact without damaging the logic board? Let's keep disassembling. Once this cover comes off, you'll see the battery underneath. As you can see, the battery itself is badly wrinkled and deformed. It's a metal-encased battery. Now look at where the frame is bent. The deformation is exactly where the battery sits. The iPhone 17 Pro's logic board, however, is mounted horizontally at the top. This is Apple's first iPhone to use a horizontal logic board layout. As far as I know, having repaired iPhones since the iPhone 4S, every previous logic board was mounted vertically, either on the left or the right side. So whenever the frame bent, the logic board usually bent too. This proves what I said earlier. The iPhone 17 Pro's redesign solves one of the biggest structural weaknesses of previous iPhones. However, the iPhone 17 Pro also has one fatal design flaw. Do you know what it is? We'll remove the rear cameras, the earpiece assembly, and then take out the logic board. There's also a wireless charging flex cable on the back of the board. Remove the screws, disconnect the cable, and the board lifts right out. The iPhone 17 Pro has the smallest and most compact logic board Apple has ever made. I really have to admire Apple's engineering. This board is incredibly tiny. So what's the biggest design flaw of the iPhone 17 Pro? Can this bent frame actually be straightened? After discussing it with the owner, they chose to replace it with a genuine original used frame. At the end of this video, I'll explain why replacing it is better than straightening it, and reveal the iPhone 17 Pro's biggest design weakness. We removed the Wi-Fi antenna cable, and flash flex cable, then transfer them to the new frame. Every detail, every screw, and every tiny spacer must go back exactly where it belongs. This tiny flex cable acts as an antenna amplifier for Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth, and more. Next comes the LiDAR module. We'll transplant it too. Once the upper section is finished, we move to the bottom, including the SIM tray, speaker, Taptic engine, charging port, wireless charging flex, and rear glass. The wireless charging assembly is attached to the rear glass. First, let's remove the SIM tray. Notice that the SIM tray is mounted separately above the charging port, not soldered to the logic board. Next, remove the speaker, then the Taptic engine. The charging port has the largest number of screws, and they all vary in size, length, and depth. That's why I don't recommend beginners attempt this repair. We'll also transfer the volume button flex cable. Before revealing the answer, leave a comment. What do you think is the iPhone 17 Pro's biggest design flaw? We reinstalled the speaker, Taptic engine, and SIM tray. One more thing, the iPhone 17 Pro's frame is serialized in pairs. Replacing it freely will trigger a system warning. Now we'll remove the power button flex cable, which also includes the new camera control button. Let me know in the comments, where do you think Apple stores the frame pairing information? At this point, every flex cable has been transferred. Next comes the rear glass and wireless charging assembly. The rear glass is glued to the frame, so we heat it first. Use a puller to create a gap. Then slide a thin plastic opening tool around the edges to separate the adhesive. Now the rear glass comes off independently. As you can see, the wireless charging assembly is integrated into the rear glass. Next, we clean away all the old adhesive around the glass, so the new installation fits perfectly and seals properly. We'll also clean the adhesive from the replacement frame. Remember what I mentioned earlier? The frame is serialized, and replacing it causes a warning. So where exactly is that pairing information stored? After cleaning, we apply new waterproof adhesive, remove the protective film, and reinstall the rear glass. Once that's finished, we continue reassembling, install the logic board, connect the wireless charging cable, clean everything, tighten the screws, and reinstall the rear cameras, reconnect the camera flex cables, clean the board, then reinstall the earpiece and true depth front camera assembly, secure everything with the 3 large screws that hold the rear camera module. After reinstalling the logic board and external components, we reinstall the metal shields and tighten all their screws. One unfortunate thing, the owner insisted on keeping the original battery. Honestly, it's impossible to predict how much life this damaged battery still has. For the display, the owner chose an original Apple diagnostic compatible white box replacement screen. Before installing it, all the surrounding screws must be returned. Remember, they all have different lengths and depths. Be very careful. We repair the damaged cooling stickers, clean all remaining adhesive from the frame, apply new waterproof adhesive, connect the 2 display flex cables, tighten the mounting screws, clean everything, and finally connect the battery. Remove the final protective film from the waterproof adhesive, clean out every bit of dust, and make sure the inside is spotless before closing the display. One more thing. This phone cannot be pressure sealed. If you know why, leave your answer in the comments. Install the 2 bottom screws, then hold the volume buttons while connecting power to enter Apple's post-repair configuration diagnostics. Due to time, I won't demonstrate the entire diagnostic process. After booting, I'll show you where the frame pairing information appears. Open about this iPhone. As you can see, it's still recognized as the same 512 GB device. The display shows as a genuine Apple part. However, the body section shows a notification detecting a new enclosure. So, how do we remove that notification? Will it later show the phone has a replaced frame? Tap Restart, then enter Apple's Repair Assistant configuration process. It confirms that the replacement frame is a genuine Apple part. The iPhone 17 Pro also requires rear camera calibration. Because replacing the frame changes the distance between the camera and lens assembly, Apple is extremely precise. Once calibration finishes, the system confirms everything is complete. Restart again. Back on the home screen, the body warning is gone. The phone will no longer report that the frame has been replaced. Finally, here's the biggest flaw of the iPhone 17 Pro. Because the frame is made from aluminum, all 4 corners are much easier to dent, and the center is also prone to bending. Even a relatively light impact can damage the corners. That's the biggest structural weakness of the iPhone 17 Pro. Thanks again to the owner for trusting me. We'll package the repaired phone together with all the original parts and send everything back. If you haven't followed yet, be sure to follow. The next repair will be even more exciting.